Start at the beginning, what year it was and how you got into veganism. Okay?
Okay. So, hello everybody. My name is Olga and I'm 53 years old. I currently live in US. I lived here for 25 years, but when I was in Russia, I started veganism, God, in 1982 when I was just 18. I had a whole bunch of vegan friends and they convinced me what it's the best diet in the world and you just can't go wrong by being vegan and that's what the people's supposed to eat and all the other vegan stuff. And I went for it. In the beginning, the placebo effect kicked in and it's like, oh my God, I feel so good. It's just, I'm becoming a more spiritual person, I'm becoming a better person. So you feed yourself all those stories for a while and you keep yourself going. But after a while, the problems started to kick in. Before I became vegan, I was pretty healthy. I didn't have any problems. I didn't become vegan for health reasons. I just liked animals and I wanted to have more energy. But then thinking back, for a person who could dance in a disco for 4 hours straight, I think I had a lot of energy. But I guess I thought we could use more. And then, of course, there's the trap of being more spiritual. So the only thing just to health-wise, to give you like a starting point, the only thing what happened to me health-wise was food poisoning. I was poisoned by so-called satanic mushrooms. And it was really popular for people to forage in the forest for mushrooms. And satanic mushrooms look very similar to very delicious other mushrooms. So anyway, about 6 months into it, this is when I started noticing things going south. We went to a party at my vegan friend's house, and one of the people was not a vegan. He was the roommate of the people who were vegans. So we're sitting at the table, and it was fall, and I noticed my vegan girlfriend, who was also 18 at the time, she has her lips blue, which was kind of weird. And then the guy who was not vegan was like, what the hell is wrong with you girls? Both of you have blue lips. And it's like I looked at my nails and they were blue as well. And we're talking not kind of bluish, but really bright blue. It was really freaky. So I was just sitting here there looking at my nails because that's just really weird thing. How can they get so blue? And he went on, it's like, oh, listen, you're not even 20 and you look like you're over 30. I am 45 and everybody tells me I look half of my age. I drink, I eat meat, I never restrict myself. I'm not on any kind of diet. I'm doing exercise and I'm, I hate to say, but in much better health. And you doing that yoga, you doing your spiritual classes and you're doing everything else and your lips are blue.
Hmm.
I appreciate what he was so blunt because from that point on, I kind of started questioning, am I really doing the right thing? Because besides getting blue lips and blue nails, I got arthritis at the age of 18. And it's amazing the stories, the excuses you make in your head for all those things going wrong because it can't possibly be vegan diet. That's perfect for the human being, right?
Hmm.
So besides, getting arthritis, which was really painful thing, I got pneumonia. And it was a walk-in pneumonia because my not so bright doctor uh, failed to determine what I was quite sicker than she thought, and she sent me back to work. So a year later, for whatever reason, I had an x-ray done, and x-ray said, oh, look, you had scars on your lungs. I guess you really were sick with pneumonia. I'm sorry. Well, it kind of doesn't cut it because ever since, I acquired a chronic bronchitis, and once in a while I cough like my lungs are going to fly out. And if it happens to be at the workplace that people congregate and, they think if they need to call ambulance or whatever, because I really, really cough to the point I throw up.
Mm.
This is not funny. The other thing which is also not funny is like my hair started falling out. I used to read, old Russian books where, women during the revolution there hid their, silver rubles, which are pretty much the size of the silver dollar, in their braided hair. Well, at that time, I couldn't hide the silver dollar in my hair, but the quarter would fit. And at this point, I would be lucky if there's a nickel what I can hide in my hair. And I used all kinds of supplements. I used the laser therapy. I used all kinds of stuff, oils, what have you. And I didn't get my hair back.
Mm.
My teeth started rotting, but well, okay, I guess I like too much chocolate. But it was not a chocolate because once I stopped being vegan, and especially once I ditched my fluoridated toothpaste, I didn't have a cavity for 20 years. This is just not normal. And then I always been skinny, and people used to give me a really hard time for being skinny. And I tried, and it was before being vegan, I tried everything I could to gain weight. And I remember I overate at every meal. And at night, I would put a bowl of sugar, white bread, and butter. And I would eat as much as I could before throwing up. And I would think surely that would make me fat. No, it did not gain, it didn't give me a pound extra. However, after all those things started rolling down the hill with my veganism, I started gaining weight. At first, I gained like 5 pounds a month. And I thought, oh, cool. Well, finally, people will stop calling me skinny and give me a hard time. But then, I thought, okay, for 5 pounds, that's good. We should stop now. But the body said, we're not stopping. We're going with the program. And then next month, I gained 20 pounds.
Mm.
It was like I didn't eat anything different, and the vegan diet is already a low-calorie diet. Well, what happened? I don't know what happened. Probably my thyroid went to hell, and many other things with it. And again, I never got my metabolism back after I stopped being vegan. And just that feeling of being cold all the freaking time. You're just cold. It's cold to your bones. You can take a really hot shower. You can go to a sauna. You can do whatever, but you're just cold. And I still continue, and I still continue because it's the only right diet for the people. And all my vegan friends will say, oh, you're just still adjusting. Just bear with it. You're going to be okay. You'll grow over it. And I adjusted to the point where every salad from my mom's garden, and I pretty much ate everything organic from locally grown by my own mom, but every salad would felt like there are razors in my stomach, frolicking.
Mm.
And I would try to eat something else. I still had horrible stomach pains. And I started talking to my vegan friends, well, I don't know, it was just really, I'm feeling horrible. I have zero energy. And I tried to exercise because, I lived in Russia. Everything was scarce. If you gain 25 pounds, you don't fit in your clothes. And it's really hard to find new clothes. So I already was on the diet. So the only thing was left to do is to exercise. So I would go for those 15-minute aerobic classes. And I would curl out and crawl and just drop face down on my back because I was not just tired, I was exhausted. It was just a horrible thing. Like my vegan friends will, oh no, now that you went vegan, you can't go back because you will feel like you were severely poisoned. And I already had severe food poisoning. Well, that's probably would be worse than continuing. But still was going. I was unbelievable, a year and a half. And then finally, what really broke me, and bless her heart, the woman who was a client of my brother, she brought him fried geese for New Year's. And the look at that geese, the smell was absolutely mesmerizing. And she knew I was vegan, but she saw me eyeballing that geese. It's like, you should try some, please. It's okay. You can cheat once a year. Please go for it. And I don't know how much I ate. I just know then three of us stood up from the table. Half of the geese was gone, and I knew it was mostly my responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels so good. Like when I closed my eyes, I started out with that geese and how good it tasted. It was just unbelievable. And I did not get poisoned. I was just fine. I was better than just fine. I felt relieved. I felt like I'm out of the twilight zone, because that's really what it was, the twilight zone. Because my best friend from those days tells me, do you remember this, and this when I was vegan? And I don't. There's just like void in my memory. I know I remember how miserable I was, but I don't remember the events she's describing. And those are pretty, like when she describes me, those are pretty significant events, but I don't remember. It was just so crazy. So besides the pneumonia, arthritis, blue nails, razors in my stomach, and chronic bronchitis, I also got DVT. And I got chronic urine infection. I mean, it was just, I started as a pretty healthy 18-year-old girl, and I ended up, before age of 20, having a slew of crazy diseases. And DVT is a pretty nasty thing, and it also has chronic side effects that are called possibly by the syndrome, where your veins are no longer functioning, and it creates trophic ulcers. And it also impairs you from walking any long distance or standing on your feet. So thanks to that, I have a handicap sign that if I didn't have it, I probably would be in a wheelchair, because I can't spend any prolonged period of time on my feet, and there's nothing the doctors can do. Some of the effects I was able to work out, like I'm no longer getting blue nails, and don't freak people out. I no longer have chronic urine infection, but it's no thanks to traditional medicine. It's because of my acupuncture doctor, who told me I'll be happy to take care of those issues for you. I can't do anything about your DVT, but I can get rid of those issues. But you really have to help me out, and you have to eat beef as raw as you can take it. And he kept his word. I got rid of those problems, and bless his heart, I'll never forget it. But I never got my metabolism back. Like before, I couldn't gain weight. Now I can't lose weight if my life depends on it. I spent thousands and thousands of dollars researching what is wrong with me. Nobody knows what is wrong with me. Everything is fine, except I still have problems. So, and there's such a crazy push for veganism right now, and people are told the same lies as I was told, what it's a perfect diet for human being, and you can't possibly go wrong being vegan. And the first things the vegans will tell you, two things. You're either still adjusting, which somehow adjusting period I heard now extended to 10 years, which is absolutely insane, or you are not doing it right. And if vegan diet is the only right diet for the people, how can you possibly not do it right? And last time I checked, everything right is not complicated. nor does it require 500,000 supplements to do it right. Because if it's a natural diet, it does not require unnatural supplements. Because those supplements are completely unnatural, and things they're made of are completely crazy. Like history of vitamin E. It was discovered during the photography process, which is really a highly chemicalized process. I mean, it's just when you look at where those vitamins, quote unquote, came from, it's insane. And how, like, there's no right way to do a wrong thing. Veganism is just not a right thing for vast majority of people. It's not for everybody. I'm not here to say what everybody has to be a meat eater and everybody has to do one size fits all, whatever. Because it's not the case for all individuals. But vegans seems to be thinking that's the way to go, one size fits all, and it's their size. Well, it's not my size. It's not your size, and it's not a size of a whole bunch of other people whose health was tremendously damaged by this diet, by this experiment. And nobody tells you what this is going to take place. Nobody tells you it can have tremendous lifelong consequences. It's not wearing baggy jeans that you can take off and, wearing some fitting clothes.
Do you believe that more and more people are gonna go vegan, or is it gonna change?
I think there's the thing, like, thinking back, I would call veganism a communist diet. Because back then in Russia, food was very scarce, but most scarce of everything was meat. So by default, unless you're very rich and you're a Communist Party member, you are eating vegan diet. Because there's no meat, okay? You have to spend a couple hours in line. And now it's transitioned into Agenda 21. And it's not some conspiracy theory, it's a conspiracy of reality. There's a UN document. Go into Wikipedia, go anywhere else, you'll see the details. And vegan diet is a part of it. Vegan diet is forced into school, and most vulnerable population. And children come home and they declare, I'm going to be vegan. Their parents don't think anything about it. They don't know what kind of damage it can cause. They don't know it can cause infertility, loss of teeth, which thanks God I didn't lose that many teeth as a result. Oh, I had root canal also at that time. Also another disaster. But nobody warns the parents what among all those other crazy things what children are learning in school, like, boys should be girls and girls will be boys, they also force into vegan diet. And I would really strongly encourage people, if you're going to go on this experiment, don't make it a lifelong experiment. It's like, okay, in some religions, people fasted, for 40 days, but they did not become vegan for life. It was a period of time. And if you are to embark on that experiment, you, without knowing that, becoming a cult member. And it's really is, because logic and reason flies out of the window when you become a vegan. You start, not only other people making excuses for crazy things like your lips turning blue, which is like, it should be a immediate alarm for everybody. Stop whatever hell you're doing, because that's just so abnormal. It's just so much pressure. It's like there are millions of people who recovered from veganism, but they're not militant. They don't, push around their agenda. They don't tell people that you have to stop being vegan and you have to do whatever I tell them. No. They just go around and telling people what their consequences, and you might want to be aware of that. Vegans conversely go around forcing everybody guilt tripping everybody. If you don't do what we do, you're a horrific person and you should be exterminated.
Do you also
No,
see it as wrong to kill animals? Did you used to?
I still think what killing animals the way of the factory farming is extremely wrong because there's a huge difference between the animal raised eating grass and being in its natural environment versus then the animal locked into filthy conditions and never seen the light and eating garbage. There's a tremendous difference in quality of meat and in everything. And animals should have life before they're killed. I mean, I still believe that. And I go out of my way and I pay more money to go and get produce from, local farmers who respect animals. And it's available if you want to do it. Yeah, they're killed still. I understand that. And there is no avoiding that, but at least they had a life. And it sustains your life. In veganism, really doesn't, not in the long run. Maybe you can try it this also I came across the yin and yang diet. It's like the Eastern diet where you count whether the conditions you have caused by negative or positive deficiency. And all the vegan diet causes negative surplus because everything, the fruits, the vegetables, pretty much everything is negative. And it's no wonder what I was so freaking cold all the time. So maybe if you have a total imbalance and you have to balance it by vegan diet, go ahead. But just remember, if you feel any kind of negative consequences, the first thing you should think about, maybe I should stop my vegan diet. Maybe I should eat meat. Not about running to the store and picking up some other supplement, quote unquote, or some chemical. Because just like one lady in your video said, it's not a plant-based diet. It's a chemical-based diet because a majority of your money goes towards the chemicals, the supplements, quote unquote.
Do you believe that it used to be easier to quit veganism for vegans back then because they had no supplements or anything else to rely on? Whereas now they just try to find some supplement or something, some kind of excuse to continue?
Yes, I think it was easier back then because you got sicker faster because you didn't have that many choices. And because they have all those supplements and there is so much psyching going on, people really psych themselves. Because if you would ask me back then, even when my nails were blue, how do you feel? How's veganism working for you? I would say it's great. Yeah, it's great. I feel half alive. It's great. Because there's just something happens in your head. Because it's so hard. There's a mental barrier from going back to being a meat eater because you think, oh, I'm going to be a worse of the person. I'm going to degrade myself, quote unquote. How can you possibly degrade yourself when you're killing yourself? And this is just like insane thinking. So it's just, I appreciate you doing this channel because immediately when you say something against veganism, you are attacked on all fronts. And there are like batshit crazy people who insult you personally. They know nothing about you. And they call you a horrible person and, basically like some kind of animal vampire or whatever it is. And they try to guilt trip you into stop talking. But once people realize what it's not an exception, what humans get sick of by being vegans, it's a rule. It's a rule. Maybe something will click and they will think twice before they embark on this journey and ruin their health. And I hope it helps people to reconsider.
Yeah.
Continuing with this agenda.
Thanks a lot for sharing.
You're welcome. My pleasure. And thanks for keeping the channel going.